Baggy, the Mighty Monster of Nature, was a movie about a pink mountain lion named Baggy, named by her first and only real friend, Ryosuke. She was the unfortunate subject of gene splicing experiments. It was never really explained, but these gene splicing experiments had the side effect to give the animals supernatural abilities, making them creatures of destruction to match their frightening appearances. Baggy arguably could be considered the most dangerous of them all because she was given human DNA, which gave her the intelligence to walk upright and talk just like us. As the story went, 9 years back before the beginning of the movie, the lab that hosted these animals suffered from a horrible earthquake, which allowed them to break free and escape. Fearing what these creatures could do on their own out in the wild, Ryo's mother, Yoko Ishigami, who was the head of the research, ordered all the animals be hunted down and killed. Baggy was the only one who was never found, and as fate had it, was picked up on the side of the road by Yoko's husband, who brought her home to their son, Ryo. Now you're probably wondering, how is it that the experiment that got away ended up in Yoko's home and was never noticed? I can only come to one conclusion. It's because she never brought her ass home to act like a good mother and wife. And it seemed like it was months at a time because Baggy was getting bigger and smarter while living in the home Yoko never cared to visit. If she did it more often, she would have realized what the pink cub was and had her taken away and destroyed. Baggy's life in the film was horrible to say the least. Image being experimented on before you was even born, and for reasons you had no say in, you were now considered a monster to be killed on sight. All the other animals that were once like you have all been terminated. You can't reach out to them, and every human minus a little boy that took care of you as a cub are too afraid of you. You have a human's intelligence and self-awareness, but nobody is trying to hear a single word you have to say. Yoko in particular was backwards as hell when it came to her. She was actively mocking the lion from behind a screen when she was glued to a table. You would have figured the cat used to beat her up and steal her lunch money. And while she was glued to that table, that's where Yoko pointed out that her human intelligence was slipping away. We don't know what she really could have done for Baggy if she got over herself sooner and lived longer. For all the crazy experiments she participated in, you would have thought a solution was possible, but all she wanted to do was go for the nuclear option and have her destroyed. Even as Baggy pleaded with her to stop the experiments, she wasn't trying to hear it. But when all the other animals she unknowingly fed highly poisonous rice to curled over and died, she had tears to shed for them. The film was far from written perfectly. I'll just say take it for what it is or you'll be racking your brain forever on the logic of the story. And yet the one person I ended up being disappointed in the most was Ryosuke, the only person in the world Baggy felt she could trust. When he was still 6 and she was a little cub, I felt that was the strongest time during their relationship. Fast forward to a 15-year-old Ryo and an all-grown-up Baggy, not so much. She was putting all her trust in him and fulfilling his every request without question, but he was actively admitting in his head that he was scared of her. He didn't trust her the way she trusted him, which is why he kept getting alarmed and making her promise she wouldn't harm his mother in any way. The same woman who would not be moved when it came to sparing Baggy's life. At least, from what I noticed of him, he didn't ask enough questions and was kind of slow to put 2 and 2 together. When it came to his mother anyway, after she died in front of him completely scarred from an animal attack, all he thought was, Baggy did this because she hated her, and so I'm not going home until I put a bullet in her head. Don't think I'm taking Baggy's side simply because she's a hot piece of furry ass. Ryosuke did lose his mom, and he wasn't there to actually see what happened to her. It was his mom, and even though she was terrible at it, he still loved her very much and was pissed over her death. But up to the point of her death, Baggy never once gave him a reason to doubt her. And after everything they'd been through, he still did it anyway instead of wondering why she would suddenly up and betray him. I guess what annoyed me the most was how he suddenly developed amnesia over everything his mother did and started to act like she was a saint. Forgot that she once ordered to have Baggy shot dead on sight, forgot that she tuned him out entirely while Baggy was glued to a table ready to be destroyed, overlooked the possibility that his mom could have been hostile, and completely forgot something was wrong with Baggy the last time the two spoke. And towards the end of the film, after losing touch with her human side, she managed to restrain herself to keep from mauling him and just long enough for him to stab her. It was only then the truth was discovered around her neck. Any other animal would have been dead, but she wasn't some ordinary feline. She got up the next day and ran off perfectly fine. The awesome thing about her was that even though she could be a nightmare for those she didn't like, she did in fact have a heart of gold. She stayed loyal to Ryosuke to the end and cared for him enough to love her enemies. As far as Ryosuke goes, if this was a Tom and Jerry cartoon, he would be getting that stupid ass whisker yanked off his face for a guitar string. Hopefully he did finally learn a life lesson the last time he was with Baggy.